Welcome to the program. My name is Vince Nigro. On Insights today, Aslin Tosun, female entrepreneur, went from the corporate big world to starting her own business in the diamond jewelry business. Unbelievable show. She'll talk to you a little bit about what to look for in jewelry, her success story, and much more on the program today. Hey, Azlin, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
We've done a couple of programs on entrepreneurs and female entrepreneurs, and you are a female entrepreneur. In talking to you prior to the program, we'll get into your area, but women in entrepreneurship and developing their own businesses and their own brains is such a wonderful thing to see. I've got 3 daughters, and I work with them in terms of they're trying to develop whether it's a side hustle or they got their permanent jobs. You were in a similar situation where you were in the corporate world, you were in the media world.
Yeah.
And you decided that one day to make a change. Tell us a little bit about how that happened.
I just, typical, went to school, graduated. I actually went into business and I landed in HR. And after working for a food industry, then I worked in broadcasting. For over 10 years, I was with the same company. And, I experienced all the changes, the mergers, acquisitions, full-on corporate life. And with all the changes that were happening, this was pre-COVID, it was just, I had a very hard time balancing work and life. And one day I just woke up and said, why am I doing this? Why am I giving my all to, the company that really doesn't deserve me at the end of the day and what I'm going through for this.
And life is short, and you probably had a passion for it. So
I did enjoy it, but then when I realized I'm not enjoying it anymore, and it's actually causing me more
grief than
stress than anything else, than enjoyment or even a challenge or even that fulfillment. I said something's not right here, and I shouldn't be it shouldn't be this difficult to come to work.
So your family background, they're jewelers. You have a background that your mother, your father, your grandfather, all in the jewelry business. So you decided to get involved.
I grew up with jewelry. We used to live with my grandparents. My grandfather was a jeweler. He was a diamond setter. My uncle, and so I used to watch them. They used to have a workbench in the basement, and they used to bring their work home. And I'd see all the shiny stuff and all the gemstones, and don't touch that, or don't lose that. And as a kid, I'd be so infatuated with it all at the time. And so it was just a natural thing. My parents, when they immigrated to Canada, the first thing they did was open a jewelry store. And so I used to, I grew up, in flea markets and in exchanges, and there was no daycare back then. And I just grew up in a retail environment with my parents, basically selling jewelry. So both production and retail,
The jewelry business is interesting because in traveling around, there's different trends out there and different materials that are used. Being in Europe, in the past, everybody used to say, well, you got to go to Europe to get gold. You got to go to Europe to get Italy or whatever. And, being there in the last month or so, it's not that cheap. And obviously with the whole gold situation, they talk about recognizing, especially on jewelry, they have the number 18 that makes it like an 18 karat gold, whatever. Do you find that in terms of that whole industry, there's a lot of fake stuff out there?
It's not the actually fake. It's just what you said, just the different metals. Back in the 80s and 90s, specifically, gold was gold. When you said gold, you only knew of solid gold. You'd buy 14 karat. It was this is the stuff to gift. 10 karat was considered, oh, cheaper. I'm not going to get that. Now it's when you say gold, it's almost like, especially the newer generation, like it's almost just a color now. Like they don't even realize what gold is, like that it's a precious metal and the value of it. So along with everything else, obviously, there's new metals now that have come out. There's the gold filled, the gold plated, which are just brass and things like that that don't have value. But that will never change. Solid gold will always be solid gold, and that will never change.
Before we get to your brand and how you developed your brand, New York has the famous Diamond District, and most big cities have their areas where they have the jewelry exchange of diamond. In Toronto, for myself growing up, that Toronto, the Yonge Street, Dundas area, Victoria Street was always kind of considered where the gold and the diamond district was, and there were some of these buildings that I remember going into that would have jewelers on every floor. Is that still considered the diamond jewelry area for Toronto?
It's still considered the jewelry district. However, I think the average consumer wouldn't really associate that with jewelry, only because it's not upfront. You don't, like New York, you walk by and you see all the diamonds and all the gold and all the jewelry, whereas in Toronto, it's not a storefront. It's more production and in offices. So, but yes, it is still considered the jewelry district in Toronto.
So when you decided to make this move and kind of do your own thing and develop your own brand, talk to us a little bit about, obviously you had a whirlwind, you had a whole family behind you, your passion and how you developed your line. Talk to us a little bit about your line, how that came up.
It did actually start off as a hobby. It was like just a passion. And, growing up, I'd always ask my dad, oh, I really want this. Can you make it for me? Or like even after I got married, my husband was also a diamond setter. Oh, I'd love this. Can you, I'd talk about it or draw it, and I'm like, I'd love this, could you make it for me? And of course, family never comes, it's never your turn. So like, what, I'm just gonna make it for myself. I'm like, why am I asking people? So just ideas, things that I always wanted, things that I admired, things that I thought were cute. I just started making them for myself, and then I'm like, what, why don't I just put it out there? I mean, I have all the resources, I have the experience and the knowledge. And so it's kind of started off as once I left the corporate world, I decided, I'm going to do something for myself, something that I enjoy. And, if it works, it works. If it not, it's still going to make me happy. And it's my own. So
So when you have an idea or you get a passion for a piece of jewelry, and it starts in your mind, obviously in terms of what you want, do you draw it out? Talk to us a little bit about the process of how you develop some of your jewelry.
Yeah, it's more of an idea. I have an idea, and I work with my nephew's also a CAD designer, and kind of sit together and kind of put the vision to life, and then just go from there.
And are your products a variety of cost? Is it like?
So my products are minimal. I am minimal solid gold. I am trying to keep obviously costs as low as possible, and that's why my pieces are on the lighter side. And that's what determines the cost and the price of the pieces. So they are more on the lighter, minimal side. But as trends change and I get inspired for different things. Obviously, I'm also starting to carry different pieces that are a bit bigger.
A lot of people have body composition where gold and silver kind of there's an allergic reaction to it and whatever. And one time I had a little bit of an allergic reaction to a particular gold, whatever. Is that still pretty common in terms of reaction, in terms of body types, or is it fake gold that doesn't really have the purity that kind of interacts with your skin tone?
Definitely the faker stuff can react. But solid gold is solid, depending on the carat. I mean, 10 karat versus 18 karat. What the difference basically means, the 18 karat has a higher degree of pure gold mixed with other alloys. So yes, you can be wearing a 14 karat solid gold piece, and maybe you have, a little bit of a reaction. It doesn't mean it's not gold, pure real gold. It just means one of the alloys that it's been mixed with might cause a reaction. Maybe it's the brass, maybe it's the silver in it. So unless it's 24 karat gold, it's never going to be pure. But no one wears 24 karat gold as jewelry.
Right. And your line, is it unisex? Is women, men? Talk to us a little bit about that.
It's not. I would say it's more for women. Yeah, I am thinking of kind of creating some, a few pieces geared towards men. Just things that I would like to see on a man, or things that I think they would like, or even the women, my customers that, sometimes are looking for gifts for their partners or whatnot. But currently it's minimal women's line.
Are you finding it more and more the trend of getting custom jewelry designed to that person, to that individual?
Absolutely.
Obviously, a lot of people kind of color coordinate and whatever. Like a lot of people now use strings, and beads are very, very popular, depending on where you are in the world. I've noticed that a lot more customized jewelry is getting very popular, especially in Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I think is great about my brand is I do customize jewelry. And I think it is difficult to find a brand that customizes minimal, smaller pieces because one, it's a lot of work, it's costly, and no one wants to deal with, I just got, I'm making this very beautiful, tiny little pendant for a customer of mine. It's a gift for her niece. And she's like, oh, no one would make this for me because it's so small. But, I will. And that's what's great about it. So, my brand is also geared towards special, meaningful gifts. So definitely customization is a big thing. And
well, it's like you said, whether it's a size or something unique. And there's a lot of jewelry stores just won't take that on. So being flexible and doing that is one aspect. When you are working with people, what is it that they're interested in buying some custom or some jewelry or custom jewelry? What is it that they should be looking for? Like, should they do some research, talk to some people that are reputable? Because there's obviously a lot of people out there that take advantage. Give us a little bit of some advice on what we should look for.
Honestly, really, really reading the fine print. My business is online. I do have a studio where I carry most of my pieces. But it's mainly online. And when I was starting up, I did my research. I'm like, what are people selling out there? And when you read the fine print, it says gold. It doesn't say gold plated, or it doesn't say what the composition is. So I think the main thing, if you're shopping for jewelry, really know what you're buying. Just at least know what you're buying. Like, are you buying 14 karat gold, solid gold, or are you buying 14 karat plated gold? Because now it just says gold, 14 karat, and then it could say plated. It could not say plated. Then when you read the fine print, it could say brass plated in 14 karat gold. I mean, what is a 14 karat plating? I don't even think there's such a thing.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say read the fine print and just know what you're purchasing.
So you've obviously come from a corporate world. You've made the move. A lot of people talk about doing these things, but they never do it. Someone who's watching and is considering what you're doing, what kind of advice would you give someone that is thinking of taking the plunge?
Taking the plunge, if you really want it, don't be afraid. You honestly need to take the risk. It's not easy. I'm not going to say it was, it's so easy. Just do it, quit your job and do your own thing. But if you want it, just go for it. Take some risks. Do your research. Obviously, know what you want to do, and really have an idea of who. Maybe if it's like a retail type of business, know who your audience
is.
Yeah.
And just final question, we talk about trends in jewelry and it changes all the time, like fashion, like brown is the color for the fall and that kind of stuff there. Are there trends, or is it always better to have a good, nice, solid piece of gold if you can afford
Good
it?
question, actually. With the rising costs of gold, I mean, just in the past year, it's risen, I would say, at least 40 to 45%. That is a very big, significant rise in the cost of gold. So, luckily, my customers do. It does hurt small businesses a lot, but luckily, my customers do appreciate and value their pieces even more because they realize that what they're purchasing will always hold its value. That's why I do like to make pieces that are more like a heirloom as opposed to a trend.
Right.
But keeping both considering both things. Obviously, trends are always going to be there, and just like fashion, it changes. Like the color of gold, are we mixing metals, silvers with golds? Or are we bigger pieces, smaller pieces? But my brand's more about that smaller, meaningful piece that you can then mix with a trend that's like bigger, like with the beads or with the bigger earrings or with something that's just trending out there. So I like to kind of keep it more
Geekish and very customized. Just a final question that kind of hit me is like a lot of people when they wear jewelry, sometimes they take it off, sometimes they keep it on. It's a bit of a hassle, that kind of stuff there. Obviously, there's the tarnishing piece if they're older because you're going to shower with it, you're going to sleep with it, whatever. Does jewelry have to breathe as well? Do you have to take jewelry off to breathe? Is there such a thing where they talk about clothing, whatever? Is there such a thing about having jewelry breathe?
Not solid gold.
No.
So if something is solid gold, it shouldn't tarnish. It shouldn't change color.
Right.
I mean, again, it's not impossible. It can, but it doesn't mean it's not gold. The only reason it can is maybe, again, one of the alloys in it are
Right.
a bit higher than it should be. But if it's true solid gold, then no, and that's why it's a piece for life. It'll always hold its value. It's meant to be forever, and so it shouldn't change color and need to breathe.
Well, thanks for sharing your story, your brand, how you came up with it. You definitely are a female entrepreneur that's on the rise, and we'd like to stay in touch with you and keep us updated on the trends. And maybe if you come up with some special pieces, you can let us know.
Absolutely, I'd love that. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on the program.
Thank you.